you have this incredible evidence of government corruption, and no one wants to do anything about it but Judicial Watch. As I've previously observed, on the one hand, you have this outrageous abuse of President Trump. And on the other hand, you have this protection racket for the Biden family racketeering operation. So it's a racket in protection of a racket. And Judicial Watch has been investigating the Biden family corruption issues like no one else has. Well, frankly, I don't think anyone else really is that you can rely upon. And so we have obvious FOIAs out there that have also already produced results. But we also are always sending out additional FOIAs and preparing for additional lawsuits. And most recently, we just sued for records of possible FBI obstruction of the Hunter Biden / Joe Biden investigation that should have been underway years ago, but as I've talked to you about at the last update, I think, has been slowed and obstructed by the Justice Department and the FBI. The long and short of it is they know Hunter committed crimes, but they don't want to prosecute him for obvious political reasons, namely Joe. You know, and I often complain about Congress not doing their job, but I have to hand it to Chuck Grassley, who's always been an intrepid investigator, he and his staff, and Ron Johnson, senator from Wisconsin, who's been doing good work on this too. They've been riding herd as best as they've been able to on the Justice Department and the FBI, and they've had whistleblowers come to them who've exposed the corruption behind the obstruction of the Biden investigation. We've been talking about how they had the Hunter Biden laptop since at least December of 2019 and sat on it. And these whistleblowers came forward and said that you had top FBI officials, including this gentleman, Mr. Auten, A-U-T-E-N, go in there and try to bury the Hunter Biden information with a fake analysis suggesting that there was no there. And as a result, it was largely shut down just prior to the 2020 election. So more, if true, alleged FBI election interference. So this is what Grassley wrote to Garland and Wray in July about this scandal. I talked about these whistleblowers, and he said, the information provided to my office by these whistleblowers involves concerns about the FBI's receipt and use of derogatory information related to Hunter Biden, and the FBI's false portrayal of acquired evidence as disinformation. The volume and consistency of these allegations substantiate their credibility and necessitate this letter. First, it has been alleged that the FBI developed information in 2020 about Hunter Biden's criminal, financial, and related activity. It is further alleged that in August 2020, FBI Supervisory Intelligence Agents Analyst Brian Auten, again, he just testified in the Durham investigation, the Durham trial, opened an assessment which was used by an FBI headquarters team to improperly discredit negative Hunter Biden information as disinformation and caused investigative activity to cease. Based on these allegations, verified and verifiable derogatory information on Hunter Biden, and I would add Joe Biden, was falsely labeled as disinformation. The basis for how the FBI headquarters team selected specific information for inclusion in Auten's assessment is unknown. But in more than one instance, the focus of the FBI headquarters team's attention involved derogatory information about Hunter Biden. Accordingly, the allegations provided to my office appear to indicate that there was a scheme in place among certain FBI officials to undermine the derogatory information connected to Hunter Biden by falsely suggesting it was disinformation. Importantly, it's been alleged to my office that Auten's assessment was opened in August 2020, which is the same month that Senator Johnson and I received an unsolicited and unnecessary briefing from the FBI that purportedly related to our Biden investigations, and a briefing for which the contents were later leaked in order to paint the investigation in a false light. So what they did was they pretended there was nothing there, and according to this letter from Grassley and whistleblowers, they went and briefed Senators Johnson and Grassley in a way as to suggest, there's really no legitimacy to any of these concerns, which was then quickly leaked by Democrats on the Hill. I mean, talk about collusion and conspiracy. And then Senator Johnson followed up with another letter to not only Garland and Wray, but to the Inspector General of the Justice Department. Senator Grassley sent a letter to the Department of Justice and the FBI revealing information that may confirm what I've suspected for years. There was a scheme in place among certain FBI officials to undermine derogatory information connected to Hunter Biden by falsely suggesting it was disinformation. As he describes the briefing, on August 6, 2020, Senator Grassley and I received a briefing from the FBI, which we always assumed was a setup to intentionally discredit our ongoing work into Hunter Biden's extensive foreign financial entanglements. Indeed, months after that briefing, which was not specific and unconnected to our investigation, it was leaked to the Washington Post, who reported on it and tied it to, quote, an extensive effort by the FBI to alert members of Congress that they faced a risk of being used to further Russia's attempt to influence the election's outcome. Okay, so let me translate that, folks. You're investigating Hunter, it means you're a Russian agent, senators. Where'd you hear that from before? It's Trump all over again. Lie, lie, lie about your political opponents, or in this case, opponents of Joe Biden, potentially, who have information about corruption involving his family and him, by falsely alleging that you're part of a Russian disinformation campaign. That's what the Democrats ran with. Don't you remember that? I do. As Senator Johnson said, if these revelations are true, the whistleblowers blew the whistle on what was happening here. It would strongly suggest that the FBI's August 6, 2020 briefing was indeed a targeted effort to intentionally undermine a congressional investigation. So obstruction of Congress? The FBI being weaponized against two sitting chairmen of U.S. Senate committees with constitutional oversight responsibilities would be one of the greatest episodes of executive branch corruption in American history. So this is the way Washington works. You have this incredible evidence of government corruption, and no one wants to do anything about it but Judicial Watch. And what Judicial Watch did was we immediately started filing FOIAs to figure out what the heck happened here. We wanted all unclassified records, including emails, email chains, email attachments, notes, digital and or handwritten, briefings, data, documents, letters, evidence, assessments in the possession of the FBI, of the FBI's Supervisory Intelligence agents, Analyst Brian Auten, concerning the August 6, 2020 briefing provided to the members of the U.S. Senate, specifically Johnson and Grassley. So we want Auten's records about this scam setup of a briefing designed to help Joe Biden just before the election by smearing senators as being Russian dupes per the standard operating procedures of that irredeemably corrupted FBI. I love this lawsuit. I mean, isn't it awful here in Washington that they spent, again, another day talking about trying to punish people for disputing an election, while in fact we had the FBI. The proof is from U.S. senators, FBI whistleblowers are coming forward by, I think there's at least 24 who've come forward now, that the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Justice Department were actually trying to tamper with our elections. And it's only Judicial Watch that has done the lawsuit here? Now, Auten, as I said, he testified in this Durham trial. He's the one who knew about the offer of $1 million to the Clinton campaign, the Clinton gang spy, Chris Steele. He knew the dossier was bunk. And then when he got smoking gun evidence of Hunter Biden, according to these whistleblowers, he tried to suppress it. It's no coincidence that the FBI operatives implicated in improperly protecting Hunter and Joe Biden were also abusing President Trump. This is why Durham should be investigating the Biden, what I would call obstruction of justice by the FBI and Justice Department. Because you have to look at the motives. Why were they targeting Trump? Because they wanted to freeze the Justice Department from investigating Biden. They wanted to freeze the Justice Department from doing what was necessary to investigate Hillary Clinton. Motives, folks. The Justice Department and the FBI, as I said, have been irredeemably compromised, and their refusal to follow federal transparency law. Again, we've asked for these records under the law. And the Justice Department and the FBI, which will throw you in jail for violating the law, is currently violating FOIA law. And we're in federal court against them. So what's happening? We're getting attacked by Congress. We're getting attacked by the Pelosi Congress. That's why they attack us, because we're truth tellers. And we refuse to back down in pursuit of accountability for corrupt government officials. And so this is just one of many lawsuits over Hunter Biden and Joe Biden corruption. We've got much information before. As I said, other than, a congressman here and there getting some information out. For instance, we exposed how the State Department was worried under Obama about Hunter Biden corruption and its implications for our national security and foreign policy with Russia and Ukraine as it relates to Joe Biden. We just sued for information about what was going on in the State Department. What did they know about Hunter generally? What about China? We exposed separately through a lawsuit he traveled at least 5 times with Secret Service protection to China. What is he doing now? The Secret Service is hiding information about what Hunter's doing now, and we're in court trying to get it. So if you want to know if there's any serious investigations going on in Washington, D.C. about the corruption issues you care about, my answer to you is yes. And it's because Judicial Watch is doing them. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.